empire is fascinating. Most Russians practice the unique Eastern Orthodox branch of Christianity, and Russia holds a distinct geographical and cultural position in the crossroads between Europe and Asia. It also calls itself an empire. Ivan III was the first ruler of the Greater Russia region. He rejected the traditional title of king because, to him, the title of king signified limited power and adherence to society's rules. He instead went by the Russian word for Caesar, the Tsar of Russia. One of the most important aspects of an empire in Europe is its connection to ancient Rome. Russian czars underwent numerous measures to emulate Rome, particularly the Eastern Roman Byzantines. Russian flags often used the double-headed eagle, a symbol of power for centuries, which was used heavily by the Byzantines. After its capital Constantinople was conquered by the Ottoman Turks in 1453, Russia positioned itself as Byzantium's successor, the new defender of the Eastern Orthodox faith. If Constantinople was the second Rome, then Moscow was the third. This is expressed in a letter from a Russian churchman to the Tsar Vasily III. All the empires of the Orthodox Christian faith have come together in thy single empire. Thou art the sole emperor of all the Christians in the whole universe. For 2 Romes have fallen, but a third stands, and a fourth shall never be. For an empire to function, it needs to project power and stability. One of the most successful ways they do that is through aggressive conquest. Russian coronations showed off subjects from different ethnic groups from the borderlands of the empire to signify territorial expanse. Ruling many different people groups was a sign of conquest, and Russian emperors were keen to make their identity as a multicultural, sprawling empire apparent. The Emperor of Russia was a unique position. The Russian Tsar was an autocrat by design. He was meant to project absolute power and authority, rising above the rabble, and a religious paragon with extreme ties to the Orthodox Church, the leader or patriarch of the faith. This can be seen especially with the last Russian Tsar, Nicholas II, coronated in 1897. He saw himself as the benevolent leader of Russia, with the ultimate authority to do what was best for the peasantry. The Minister of the Interior, Dmitry Spiagin, even attempted to further this idea by proposing a system in which legal disputes would be solved by petitioning the Tsar for judgment as the ultimate legal authority. Nicholas II felt a strangely close personal and spiritual bond with the peasantry. During Holy Week in 1900, Nicholas was in Moscow. In correspondences he wrote that he had achieved his intense wish to spend Holy Week with the peasantry. He also wrote to his mother, "I never knew that I was able to attain such religious ecstasy as I had experienced during this Holy Week." This is also where we can see the Tsar's lofty religious mission. Nicholas once wrote, "In unity and prayer with my people, I draw new strength for serving Russia, for her well-being and glory." He saw the Orthodox faith as the national spirit of Russia, and that it was his holy duty to personally strengthen its bond with the Russian people. And by people, Nicholas really meant the peasants. He harbored great distrust of the educated elites and the city dwellers. This became a problem with the rise of the working class during Russia's industrialization. The already terrible living conditions of the worker under unregulated industry were amplified by an ambivalent, even antagonistic emperor. The revolution of 1905 and the decade that led up to the abolishment of the Tsarist regime in 1917 brought peasant desire for socio-political change to Nicholas II's attention. But it didn't sway his belief in the peasantry's personal loyalty to him. Instead, he justified the unrest by saying angry peasants were being corrupted by foreigners, especially Jews. He sometimes spoke of a desire to be physically close with the people, but never followed through because he was worried of an outbreak of violence against him. The revolution forced Nicholas II to finally include popular representation in government in the form of a legislature. However, Nicholas took steps to disenfranchise urban Russians and stuff the assembly with peasants by giving them a minimum number of seats, a benefit which other demographics lacked, further showing that even though his empire stretched from the Pacific to Poland with a diverse social hierarchy, he truly only cared for the status quo, peasants, and the Tsar's position as their benevolent ruler, which would lead to his downfall and the creation of the first communist state in the Bolshevik Revolution. Nicholas II was just one example of a Russian Tsar, but in him you can see patterns of the entire empire. Nicholas was the autocrat and patriarch of the Third Rome, just as the Tsars before him. He used his power to elevate the ideal Orthodox peasant with personal zeal, putting his own unique fingerprint on Russia during his reign, just as Peter the Great and Catherine the Great had with Russia's modernization and westernization. The Russian monarchy produced a multitude of dynamic and impactful czars,